Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Lessons for Life from Swami Jagadatmananji's inspiring book Learn to Live, Volume 2, Chapter 2, Love the Great Wonder. In this episode, Morals in Ruins, Swami Jagadatmananji has presented a true picture of the low moral standards of modern society. Morals in ruins. Experts, researchers, guardians of social health in foreign countries warn people of the evil effects of deterioration of moral values and the rising licentiousness in the name of individual freedom. With facts and figures, they point out that men and women are turning more and more selfish. The indulgence in sexual excesses is defended on the ground of freedom and spontaneity. The use or abuse of contraceptives is increasing. The number of abortions is rising. And the rise in the number of divorces is gradually undermining the structure of families. The incidence of venereal diseases is also on the increase. Those who extol the blessings of science and ignore the importance of moral values should open their eyes and heed these warnings. Teachers, educationists, educated men who imitate the West in every respect should pause and ponder over the causes of such moral degradation. As science progressed in the West, religious fervor went on weakening, freedom deteriorated into license to lead an immoral life. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, denied the need for exercising any control over the mind by means of moral codes. This led finally to aberrations in the life of children. Sigmund Freud says, a child, being helpless, grows under the shelter and protection of parents. As he grows up, he needs imaginary shelter and protective forces. God and religion are such imaginary supports. As man grows mature and develops a rational attitude, he gradually loses his belief in God and does not care any longer for religious restrictions, said Sigmund Freud. He is of the opinion that sexual urge is the single driving force in human life. There is no need for man to restrain himself with any rules of self-control and to get ill. Sorokin points out with evidences how Freud's faulty theory, which upholds unrestricted sex, has caused harm to both individual and society in the West and destroyed the moral basis. He says that by accepting Freud's exaggeration of sexual freedom, society itself has become irrevocably ill. Here are his own words. Sorokin writes, the psychoanalytical approach, which implicitly or explicitly advises full satisfaction of all impulses for the maintenance of mental health, is essentially unscientific as well as dangerous both morally and socially. Its practical application leads not to decrease but to a multiplication of mental disorders. Sorokin said that just as in the past, educationists in America used to say that children should be saved from corporal punishment, today they should start a movement, Save Children from Freud's Theory. But it is not easy to free oneself from this shackle. When sex has been overrated for the past 200 years, how can it be set aside all on a sudden? Social scientist Sorokin says, for the past 200 years, mainly during the past few decades, every branch of our culture has been assaulted by sexual excess. Our civilization is so much immersed in sexuality that from every corner of life, it oozes out. Sorokin has provided ample evidence how sexuality has caused untold harm in every field: literature, art, music, film, television, the press, magazines, advertisements. According to a study of 1930, among 100 films shown, 45 deal with sex and 28 with murder and sex. Since then, the proportion of such films has alarmingly increased. After a survey, the Statesman reports to what extent this tendency has recently gone. In West Germany, for many years, video film shows presenting sexual acts have attracted large crowds, but recently such films have ceased to be satisfying, and there is greater demand for films displaying blood-curdling, indecent, obscene films which depict violent crime and rape. As long as 30 years ago, Dr. Sorokin had given details of his research which proved the abuse of television. He had published the results of a study which confirmed that television was deliberately used to pollute the minds of the public. Through the television, sexually exciting environment of nightclubs with bars, crime, robberies, sexual orgies is transmitted. Television often transmits more indecent films than the cinema. Once exposed to this filth, most people will be unable to wash off the physical, mental, moral dirt. There may be just one or two who may be able to redeem themselves, but millions of people even lose the natural impulse of preserving the moral standard. This is unfortunate. Science does fan the modern tendency of exciting only organic satisfaction, exaggerating physical pleasures, making man selfish, leading him to indiscipline and immorality, and finally bringing about his moral devastation. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.